Hi, JMU Dukes. When we talk about the Founding Fathers, it's easy to lump them together as a monolithic group of guys in powdered wigs who just magically agreed on everything. But that couldn't be further from the truth. These were complex individuals with their own quirks, flaws, and wildly different visions for the future of America. Today, we'll look at 10 of these Founding Fathers to understand how those personalities shaped not just the Revolution, but the very fabric of the United States. These weren't just names on a dusty old document. These were real people, grappling with real challenges, and trying to build a nation from scratch during a time of immense change. Grab your tri-corner hats, and let's explore the fascinating human element to some of the Founding Fathers. First up, we've got the first two presidents, George Washington and John Adams. Think of them like Hamilton and Burr, but with fewer duels and way more breaches. Washington was stoic, reserved, the epitome of quiet strength. He was all about duty and honor, leading by example, and trying his darndest to keep his personal feelings out of the political arena. Basically, the strong, silent type who also happened to be a total badass on the battlefield. Adams, on the other hand, was, let's just say he was a bit more extra. He was a brilliant lawyer and passionate advocate for independence, but man, that dude loved an argument. He was stubborn, quick-tempered, and never missed an opportunity to tell you exactly what was on his mind, whether you wanted to hear it or not. Despite their differences, these two needed each other. Washington's steady hand and Adams's fiery intellect made them a formidable pair. Next, we've got two heavy hitters who probably wouldn't even share a carriage ride if they could help it: Thomas Jefferson and Alexander Hamilton. Talk about a study in contrasts. Jefferson, the author of the Declaration of Independence, was all about those lofty ideals: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. He envisioned a nation of yeoman farmers living in harmony with nature, where John Locke's ideals, such as individual rights, were paramount. He was a thinker, a dreamer, a man of the Enlightenment. Hamilton, on the other hand, was all about that hustle. Ambitious, driven, and maybe a bit power-hungry, he was the ultimate pragmatist. He believed in a strong central government, a bustling industrial economy, and wasn't afraid to ruffle some feathers to get things done. Their fundamental disagreements about the role of government, the economy, and pretty much everything else laid the groundwork for the nation's first political parties. Do you happen to know what those parties were? The anti-federalist and federalist factions eventually morphed into the first political parties, the Federalists and the Democratic Republicans. Now let's talk about the power of words with Benjamin Franklin and James Madison. Franklin, the original American Renaissance man, was the definition of smooth, for that time period anyway. He was witty, charming, and could talk his way out of any jam. As a diplomat, he used his charisma and intellect to secure crucial alliances with France during the Revolution. He also invented bifocals and the lightning rod. Certainly a brilliant overachiever. Madison, the father of the Constitution, was a different kind of genius. He was quiet, introspective, and a master of compromise. While Franklin was out there winning hearts and minds, Madison was meticulously crafting the very framework of American government behind the scenes, cutting deals and listening to the arguments on both sides. He believed in having a strong national government that worked, but he also believed in a system of checks and balances, designed to prevent tyranny and protect individual liberties. Together, these two represent the power of communication and collaboration. Now let's talk about two guys who knew how to bring the heat: John Jay and Patrick Henry. Jay was the epitome of a diplomat, calm, collected, and always working behind the scenes to find peaceful solutions. He was instrumental in negotiating the Treaty of Paris, which officially ended the Revolutionary War and recognized America's independence. Henry, on the other hand, was a firebrand. He was all about fiery speeches and rallying the troops, literally and figuratively. His "give me liberty or give me death" speech is still one of the most iconic rallying cries for freedom in history. Jay and Henry represent two sides of the same coin. Jay, the patient negotiator, and Henry, the passionate advocate, both played vital roles in securing America's independence. They proved that sometimes you need both a whisper and a roar to make real change happen. Lastly, we come to two men who weren't afraid to stir the pot: Samuel Adams and Thomas Paine. These guys were the original agitators, the ones who weren't afraid to challenge authority and rally the people against King George. Samuel Adams was a master organizer, the man behind the scenes of protests like the Boston Tea Party. He knew how to mobilize mass crowds of people to make a statement, even if it meant causing a little mayhem along the way. Paine, on the other hand, was a master of the written word. His pamphlet, Common Sense, was like the ultimate diss track against the British monarchy. It was bold, it was provocative, and it ignited a firestorm of support for independence. These two were the firebrands, the revolutionaries who refused to stand idly by. 10 founding fathers, 10 distinct personalities, all coming together to create a nation. Ordinary people in extraordinary circumstances. They argued, debated, and drank ale, but created something remarkable. Their differences and flaws make America what it is today. Progress isn't always pretty, it comes from passionate disagreement. Remember, they weren't just faces on dollar bills. Real people with real personalities shaped our nation.